got the piece of hardboard in. What I did was I just screwed in the 1x4 from underneath the hardboard and then just put a screw on the corners over there to keep the walls from flexing in and out. And should have had no need to do one over in that corner. It's already attached itself on that end. It just didn't want the walls on this end to be flexing too much. Just give it more rigid. The reason why I couldn't move it in the last shot was because it's a garage concrete floor. There's gonna be highs and low spot, and it was sitting on top of a high spot. I just tapped it out of the way and it was all loose again. So, but now it's all secure and better. This is just here really just for any paint spillage. I'm sure you're saying, hey, why not all the way out here? Well, for that I could just go ahead and use cardboard or whatever, but mainly for over there it's going to have the most issues. And who knows, maybe later on I'll put another piece on, but right now I think this will do just fine. Just fine. So one last thing to do is just to go ahead and attach air lines and the filter equipment and the, I won't say dryers, the water and oil separators and the desiccant pellet thingamajiggy, and just connect it to all this in a neat little way. What I'm going to end up doing, quick little explanation on my tank setup, is pretty much everything goes off of this head into this tank. But what I did was I convert, it's kind of really hard to see here, you just pull away. I just converted my old air compressor tank into a secondary one. So basically these two tanks are just, I've just added more gallons of air. But what I'm going to end up doing is, because I don't know why it does this, maybe someone can actually tell me why, is this here can hold 150 psi, and when I charge it up, this will go to 150 and click off like normal. But in here it will only go up to 90. In theory I thought that both tanks would go up to 150 and of course it would shut off, but I don't know why this one just holds less psi than this one, even though they're connected. But hey, so what I'm just going to end up doing is on this one I'm going to be splitting two air outs. One is just going to be for like tools and just to blow off stuff, and the other one is going to go feed into this tank and then out this tank into the paint system, because I really want more gallons of air than for paint than just for a tool or filling up a bike tire. Because air, if anyone knows anything about using spray guns, you use a lot of air. So I want to make sure I have plenty of air. But on the upside though is you don't need that much psi for spray painting. Really, you only need around 20 to 40 depending on what you're working with. I don't need 90 psi to go out my guns, or I'll blow my guns apart. So I guess it'll be just fine. So I'll just go off here for tools and whatever use, and what comes out of this tank will be strictly just for painting, and I'll have plenty of air to do it. So with that, quick little rundown what I'm going to do. The equipment to separate the oil and water, and to help dry it a bit, some copper lines, a little connection to go into here, and then this thing will be done. Other than adding the filters, I haven't added the filters yet because I ordered them. I'll explain them later when they come in. We're technically finished. We now have the air plumbing system all done. I added a new air and oil water separator, a little larger one. Had to make a little temporary custom nib just for proof that it works, but it's holding. If you hear any little air, it's just because I forgot to put Teflon tape on this and tighten it a little bit. I'll do that off camera. Of course, made a split line for my usual work air tools, and this is the paint line, which feeds all the way around back into the tank and out, and we're holding pressure. Actually, in the happy accident, I did change the drain valve underneath because it had a slight little leak, and after I did that, it went all the way back up to, you can see it, I don't know if it will show it that well, 150. Before it would always cut out at 90. Well, this tank would be at 150. So now actually both tanks are actually equalized, which is great. Regulated out to 100 psi just because of these units. I don't want to put too much pressure through it because this is only for after here. It's the paint system. There's no reason to go over 100 psi for spray painting. And then from there, going through another little water filtration, desiccant pellets, and a regulator which I have set just to below 80, and then I do my final, you know, air pressure through my gun depending on the type of project I'm doing. If I need like 40 psi or 20 psi, I'll just do it from there, fine tune it. And then we come out through here, and I have a swivel one. I want to get a new hose. I could use the black one for paint, but it's way too long and I don't need so much length to be in this air. And as we see here, got the filters there in place, and of course, just to recap, lights are going, and we have airflow suction. Fantastic. So as of right now, we can go ahead and start painting, but I have nothing to paint right now. So until I do, I'm gonna cram this lovely job with junk and then maybe figure out what else to do. So this is a wraps for this, and with that, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and go in another room, put myself in the fetal position, and just start crying over nonsense.